and remembering to record. Yes, fantastic. Okay, I'm back. For week 5 of beginner stretch, we're going to start standing today and then progress towards the ground eventually. I hope you have pillows. I've got some just off yonder direction. As usual, we're just going to start standing with feet hip distance apart. So ankles should be roughly underneath your hip points. And just breathe. Try and lift your toes for a moment and then settle them back down and press your toes into the mat. You can really feel the toe pads, I was gonna say finger pads. Toe pads, your feet pads, really gripping in for a moment. And then lift the toes. If you rock a little bit back in the heels. And then let your toes come back down, grip the toes, maybe lean a little forward, just playing with a little bit of weight distribution here. Just a fun way to get into the body, leaning a little back and forth, lifting the toes when you rock back and really gripping with your toe pads when you rock forward. And notice if you're feeling anything happening in the rest of the body as you're doing this. When I lean back, I know my quads and my abs start to engage to catch me from falling. When I lean forward, my back wants to catch. I'm trying to really focus on making it more glutes and hamstrings, trying to get more weight being held by the glutes to protect the lower back. You also don't have to rock so much that you're actually in danger of falling over. That's just me. I'm just falling over anyway. And then coming back to center, rocking a little bit side to side or just shifting weight onto one foot and the other, trying not to sink into the hips. Leave the hips fairly even. And then maybe going in circles. You don't have to lift the toes for the circles. Or go like in a diagonal pattern, just kind of play around with your feet and your weight. And again, just noticing anything that's happening in the rest of the body as we do so. And then coming back to center, feet can stay hip distance apart or they can come in a little bit wider. Totally up to you. If you have terrible balance, like me, a wider stance can sometimes help with it. If you want to challenge your balance, get your feet right close together. I don't. Not today. Inhale to lift the arms all the way up. Stretch. Keep the shoulders back and down, but stretch through the arms and the fingers. Exhale, let the hands come down. Palms facing towards the thighs. Inhale, turn the palms up. Reach all the way up. Exhale, palms down towards thighs. Inhale through the nose, reach the arms. Exhale out the mouth. Big inhale, filling your whole lower abdomen with air. And exhale, feeling a little core contraction as you get to the end of that breath. One more. And then inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, a little side bend over to the right. So if your feet are close together, that might be a little bit more difficult for you. Right hand can slide down the thigh. It can be on top of the hip, totally up to you. If you want to push out your left hip a little bit, you absolutely can, or keep them straight. Just feeling that nice stretch along the whole left side. And come back through center. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Same thing that you did on the opposite side. So if your hand stayed down, stretch towards the left. If your hand came up onto your hip, sometimes that's a little bit more stable, holding onto your hip so that your upper body does not fall. Important to stay balanced and safe. Switching again, inhale, left arm up. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Switch, right arm up as you inhale. Exhale, side bend over to the left. One more time, either side. Inhale to reach. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, reach. Exhale, side bend. Coming back to center, inhale, coming to a T with the arms. Shoulder blades are back and down and strong and together. Fingers are reaching towards the walls on either side of you as though you could grab them just out of reach. They're right there. And then turn your palms to face the walls beside you. Going to be a big stretch in the forearms here. A really good stretch. If you're good here, you can absolutely stay here and breathe. If you like, start to bring one shoulder, one ear down towards one shoulder. So right ear to right shoulder, really feeling the stretch on left side. And then turning over left ear to left shoulder, really feeling that on the right. Back and forth. Doesn't have to go to the point of pain, just to the point where you can feel, ooh, my nerves are tight. I spend too much time on my computer or digging into people's muscles with my hands. Back to center, turning the hands so the palms are facing, or well, hands are still in the same position, but palms are just going to come and face towards the body now. Same thing, right ear to right shoulder. You might feel this more in the back of the hand or the back of the forearm. Left ear to left shoulder. And just switching back and forth in your dead tree posture. And just feeling that stretch. Going back to center. Now we're going to move the hands as we move the head. So head comes to, okay, let's reset the hands first. Let's make this slightly less complicated, Nuri. Okay. Hands are going to stay in neutral position for the time being. Head is going to come over to the right side. So right ear to right shoulder. Left hand is going to turn up. So palm is going to come face up. And as the head comes left ear to left shoulder, left hand is going to face towards the body. Right hand is going to face towards the wall. We're doing kind of a stick man arm thing and switching back and forth. So this time, right hand's going to come down, left hand comes up as right ear comes to right shoulder. This is a lot of brain yoga too. Trying to remember where your hands are supposed to be. So whichever direction your head is leaning in, that hand is going to be flopping down. And the other hand is going to say, stop, wall. Don't hit me because my head's pointing in the other direction. And then switch. Or you can Spice Girl it if you want. Stop right now. Thank you very much. You didn't sing the rest of that song. You were too young. Coming back to center, release the arms. Big shoulder circles. Arms and shoulders might be a little sore here. Totally okay. Again, inhale with the left arm up. Exhale, side bend over to the right. Maybe push the hips out this time. Maybe get the hips into this. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, side bend over to the left. Push the hips out towards the right. Make a little triangle this way, little teapot. Left arm up. Yeah, pour your teapot over to the right as you exhale. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, pour your teapot to the left. One more each side. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, teapot right. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, teapot left. You absolutely don't have to bend as much as me. I'm just doing it so you can see what I'm actually doing. Inhale to center, both hands up, palms facing towards each other. Exhale, big arm circle. Getting the body into it a little bit more. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, big arm circle. Bend the knees as your hands come down. Inhale, swing the arms forward and up. You can absolutely bring your legs a little bit closer together for this one if you want. Exhale, big circle. So coming through a bit of a squat here. Arms are going to swing forward and up. And exhale, open the chest. Keep your weight a little bit back in your heels. We're going to really engage the glutes. If you're leaning too far forward, that's going to be a lot of quads. So we're going to lean a little bit back. Inhale to reach. Exhale, big circle. You can lean more forward if you want to. If you want more quad engagement, absolutely, but you don't have to. One more, inhale, squat, reach. Exhale, big arm circle. Coming back to center, just clasping the hands together, rolling out the wrists. Switch whichever thumb is on top to the other way, roll the wrists out again. And coming to our standing hamrocks right away. We're going to come into our lunges first. We'll go slowly. Don't worry. If you prefer the ground version, you can absolutely head down to the ground version and do hamrocks there. Coming to our first lunge, if you have a wall to hold on to, fantastic, to make sure that it's available for hands or chair in front of you. Making sure your right knee is over top of right ankle. Right hip is going to pull a little bit back. Left hip is going to be pushing a little bit forward. And you're going to be on your toes, on your back foot. Try and keep your back leg straight. See if you can get your left heel down towards the mat. If it doesn't reach all the way, that's okay. Then you can just stay up on the toes here. If you can get it down towards the mat, maybe turn your toes towards the left top center of your mat. A small diagonal, like maybe 20 degrees out. If you want to. And then that's more of a warrior one position. So whichever one you prefer, just coming into our lunge, just feeling a little bit of stretch. The left hip flexors. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Really reaching out of that left hip, whichever version you're in, you're still going to be getting the same stretch. So whether your foot is flat or you're up on the heel and you're really trying to straighten that knee, you're still going to feel a good stretch in the front of left hip, as long as you're pulling your right hip back and not falling over. If you would like, you can do a little side bend over to the right here. This is where it's nice to have the wall on your right side. You can actually lean onto the wall. And release the left hand. And switch legs. I did this one this way. The left leg coming forward, right leg is going to be behind. Make sure your left knee is not tracking too far in or too far out. Out's not usually a problem. It's usually falling too far in. So you really want to engage your outer thighs. Bring left knee above left ankle, whichever position you want for your right foot. So turn out a little bit and flat, or you can have it pointing straight and be up on the toes. Stretching your right hips. Make sure your right hip is not popping up if you're up on that toe. You want to make sure hips are even. Feel your hip bones here. Pull your left hip back. Push your right hip forward. Make sure you're even. And then inhale, lift the right arm up. Wall would theoretically be on this side. So you can exhale into that little stretch. Coming straight over. Make sure you're not leaning forward. Make sure your shoulders are over top of your hips. Or in this case, shoulders are mostly over top of left hip. And I'm holding onto my wall. Invisible wall. Inhale to come back up. Exhale, right hand down. I'm going to step back on my mat because I have a terrible balance. And I'm going to switch right foot forward. So coming back into that lunge position first. Make sure you are satisfied with your lunge position. Stretching out left hip flexors. And then straightening the right knee. Almost all the way straight. You can keep a little bit of a tiny bend in it, just so that you're not hyperextending backwards. Really pull the right hip back and rotate your pelvis forward to come into right hamstring stretch. Hold onto your wall or your chair in front of you. I will probably fall over if I didn't have a wall here, which is great. You can't really see, but I'm sneaking my hand on. So from here, really pressing into the base of the first big toe on the right foot, right about here. That's where you want to have the most focus going in. However, that's not where all of your weight should be. You should still be using the outside edge of your back foot if it's flat. If you're up on the toes, using the entire pad, the entire ball of the foot on that left foot. But it's easier if you have it flat for this one. Yeah, you know, whichever direction it's pointing in. I can get it all the way down, my heel. You might not be able to, so turn it out a little. Bend the front knee. Come back up into our hip flexor stretch. Inhale, lift the arms. Or just the left arm if your right hand needs to hold onto the wall. Exhale, straighten the front knee, lean forward, hands to hips, or maybe onto the wall. Hamstring stretch. Bend your front knee, press into the base of that first big toe to come up as you inhale and reach the arm. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhale, hip flexor stretch. Exhale, hamstring. Inhale to come back up to lunge. And we're going to do a turn to the other side. So straighten the front knee. Shift your feet so that both feet are parallel to the front of the mat, or at least pointing in the forward direction here. One big star stretch, arms, feet reaching in opposite directions like you are being drawn and quartered back in the medieval days. Whoops, but this is it's a good quarter. You're not being hurt by this. And then release the hands. Turning over to the left side. So find your preferred distance with the legs. Maybe it's a little bit closer. Maybe it's a little bit further. I don't know where you're at in your life. Maybe you're still on the floor. You can just turn around. If you're doing the floor version, you're down here. Absolutely. But I like the standing version today. So finding your lunge on the left side. I'm going to keep back foot flat here. Inhale to lift the arms up, or at least the right arm. Exhale, hamstring stretch. So this time we're really pulling left hip back, making sure that your front knee is just slightly bent so it's not hyperextending, pressing into the left base of the first big toe to rise up as you bend the knee. Inhale, reach. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhale to lunge. Right hip flexor stretch. Exhale, hamstring stretch. Inhale, hip flexor stretch. Exhale, hamstring stretch. One more time. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, also stretch. That was a bad cue. Coming back up through our lunge position. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, coming into our big star reach. Enjoy taking up all of the space above your mat. You have the air rights above your mat or your carpet or your piece of floor. And sigh. And palms facing up, bring the hands down to a T. Big inhale in through the nose. Exhale, vocal sound on the ah, sigh. Just make a little noise. One more. Big inhale through the nose. Make some noise. Excellent. From here, this one's going to be a bit of an adductor stretch, which we're going to do standing, which might be a little difficult for you. So if you need to have your chair or coffee table in front of you to lean on, absolutely. It's going to come down into a squat. Bear with me here. You may have seen this on a dance TV show or something. Hands are going to come to the insides, just above the tops of the knees. And we're going to do a little push and a little twist. If you can, if you need to, you can absolutely sit down and do this sitting so that you don't have to worry about actually being in the squat. You can also do a really small version, just like this. So we're just rotating the shoulder in and giving a little pressure with the inside of the hand, just to the top, above the knee. The inside thigh above the knee, not the actual knee itself. And then switch gently. And switch. If you can give a little pressure, so you'd be giving a little bit of pressure to rotate your hips externally. If you can. Sometimes this one's easier sitting on a chair, preferably a hard surface, not a couch. Not a couch or a bed, because you might fall into it a little. You just end up sleeping. That's what I do. That's why I don't stretch in the morning. Or at night. I stretch midday. Sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I've not been great at it lately. Okay, and then coming back up. Whoa, legs might be a little tired. We'll swing them out. Again, if you need to hold on to your wall as you swing your legs. Great. And legs. And then we'll head down to all fours, starting to do a little bit of a beginner's sun salutation effort. So I'm going to move my camera a little closer. It's going to be a version of a sun salutation that's going to be a lot easier. Not going to go through the full thing. Is that close enough? I can go closer. Ta-da! Okay. Yeah, we'll see about that. If that doesn't work. Okay. Look at that. I'm closer and I'm on all fours. Fantastic. So from our all fours, we're just going to sit back onto the heels. Stretch out the hands, coming into child's pose. Breathe into your lower back. And really use your fingertips to claw into your mat like we did with our toes at the beginning. As you pull yourself forward to come into your all fours position. From here, drop your belly button, coming into a cow. Inhale. Exhale, lift your belly button, coming into cat. Come back to neutral. Settle your hips down. Child's pose. Big stretch. Inhale into the lower back. Exhale, sigh. Again, really clawing your fingertips into the mat. Inhale as you come forward. Maybe coming onto the forearms first and then lifting up. Might be a little easier. Another cat-cow. Inhale to cow. Butt comes up, head comes up. Exhale to cat. Back to a neutral spine. And settle the hips back down on top of the feet. Another child's pose. Stretch. Inhale to your lower back. Exhale, sigh. Claw the mat, maybe coming forward onto your forearms first, really pulling the shoulders back, feeling that movement in the shoulders, driving you forward as you come up to your all fours. Cat, cow again, or cow, cat. Inhale to cow first. Exhale, cat back, really using your abdominal muscle, your belly button leads this movement. And back to neutral spine. I'm going to adjust myself here, ever so slightly. Look back at your right hip. Look back at your left hip. Back at your right hip again. Back at your left hip again. And let's check if the hips are still there one more time. Right side. Yep, I see it. Left side. I can see it. If you can't actually see your hips, that's also fine. Assume that they're still there. Let your hips come back down on top of your heels. Child's pose, stretch. Big inhale to the lower back. Exhale, sigh. This time, pull your forearms underneath you, coming into a little baby sphinx posture. So really pressing in with the hands and the fingertips into the mat. Fingers spread wide. Bring your chest forward. Lift your head, lift your nose. Look at the top of your mat. You don't have to look all the way at the wall. Just look right at the top of your mat, right in front of you. And exhale, a little curl in the upper back. like you're a turtle going into your shell. Bring your head down. Inhale, lift the head, coming to baby sphinx. Exhale, a little curl under. Rounding a little in the upper back and still pressing away from the mat here. So you're still really engaged in your hands and your forearms. One more time. Inhale to sphinx. Exhale, little turtle, baby turtle. There is a turtle pose. It's not a beginner's pose. All right, stretch the hands out, coming into child's pose again. Inhale to the lower back. Exhale, sigh. Claw the mat with your fingertips. Come up maybe through your forearms first onto all fours. I'm just going to scoot my mat because I'm really close to the wall here. I don't know how that happened. And we'll inhale to lift the right arm up. Exhale, bring the back of the right hand towards your lower back. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, dive it under your left. Watch your hips. Make sure they're staying even. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale, bring the back of the left hand to your lower back. Lots of shoulder rotation here. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, hands to the mat. Inhale, lift the right arm all the way up as you unwind, open twist. Exhale, right hand, back of right hand to lower back. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, hand to the mat. Left side, right away. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, back of left hand to lower back. Inhale, left arm up. Exhale, dive it underneath the right. Watch your hips. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, back of right hand to lower back. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, hand to the mat. Unwind. Inhale as you lift the left arm all the way up. Exhale, left hand to lower back. Inhale, lift the left arm up. Exhale to all fours. Walk your hands a little bit forward. If you can, also walk your knees a little bit backward, coming into plank position with the knees on the mat. You don't have to. You can totally stay in tabletop and all fours. If you're here and you feel comfortable with it, shift your weight forward, really use your fingertips, bend your elbows to come back towards your side and lower all the way down. Or you can come to lie down on your stomach in whatever manner is most comfortable to you. You can come onto your side and then meet me here. So from here, I think we did this one before, stretching the arms out all the way. Hands can stay on the ground or they can hover a little bit. Totally up to you. Face can also stay on the ground. You can have your forehead, if it's comfortable, just resting, or you can lift it. If you're lifting your head, make sure the top of your head is reaching towards the wall in front of you. You have a string, someone's trying to pull. So your spine is going to stay very, very long, pressing your pubic bone down into the mat. Hands are going to trail either on the floor or just above, all the way back. Wall again towards your thighs. The head can totally be down. This movement can just come from the shoulders. It can be very subtle. You can bend your elbows a little bit if you need to. So just find whatever point is most comfortable for you. Maybe you need to bend the elbows. Bring your hands down to your sides like this. Totally okay. Maybe you're just stretching out the arm fully. Maybe you're hovering a little. Maybe you're feeling some clunking in one of your shoulders. Oops. Really try and keep the shoulder blades engaged as you're doing this. So the whole time, shoulder blades are going to be pulling towards the spine, so in, and also down. So they're going to come in at a diagonal. You can imagine you've got muscles running down here. These are the ones we're trying to engage, not just the ones that go from the shoulder blade to the spine. We don't want to just work here. So shoulder blades wants to come in. Shoulder wants to come in. Shoulder blade comes in and down. In and down. Activate all these muscles here. You can imagine that you have a big triangle on your back and your shoulder blades are up here. That's the pattern you want to try to engage in. And that should help with some crunching and pain in the shoulder if you're experiencing it, like I just was. One more time with the snow angels, drowning snow angels. Wow, this class is grim. And then bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. If you can, from here, pressing back up to your plank, or find your way to all fours in whatever way is most comfortable to you. Totally okay. We'll all end up in all fours again. From here, calf stretching, because we haven't done that yet. Right side. Maybe sawing a little back and forth. Up to you. And switch. Left side. Static stretch if you want to, or sawing a little back and forth. I like static stretch on the side. Really lifting the back of your knee towards the ceiling. So if you feel like that knee is starting to bend a little bit, try and see, again, if there is a string attached to the back of that knee. Trying to lift it up. And then we will switch right side again. We're trying to keep that leg as straight as possible, trying to get your heel down towards the mat. And then let the knee bend and let it come down towards the mat, stretching up soleus, if you can. Might not be possible, and that's totally okay. And switch. Left side, so first, stretching gastrocnemius, straight knee, trying to get the heel towards the ground. And then bend the knees, see if you can stretch soleus from here. Maybe your knee touches the mat, perhaps it does not. Totally fine, either way. And releasing, coming to lie on your right side. We've done this stretch before, top arm and top leg straight, bottom arm and leg bent. Find that reach first. If you're feeling brave, maybe lifting up arm and leg, and then letting them settle down, big side stretch. Bend whichever limb you need to in order to take a little bit of pressure off if it's too much. It should feel good. If it does not feel good, bend whichever limb. If it's the shoulder, bend your arm a little. If it's the hip or the lower back, bend that knee a little bit. Because theoretically, it should be a nice stretch. Sigh. Hum, if you like. This one you can do in bed. This is an excellent stretch to do in bed. Really, really good to help you sleep at night. All right, and then we're gonna come up from here. So using your left hand to push yourself up, both knees bent. We've done this one before. Left hand on top of right foot. Lift the right arm up. Side bend over to the left, a little bit of pressure coming onto that left foot. My heel of the hand is just around the ball of my foot. Connection point here. Just getting underneath my toes. Especially that big toe, because it was just working earlier today. Those ham rocks. And then we'll come back through center. Switch the legs. Lie down on the left. I'm making you move so much today. I'm sorry. Bending the bottom limbs, stretching out the top limbs. If you want to, lifting the top limbs first. Finding that reach for the hand and the foot, and then settling down into a nice, easy stretch, or at least it should be. Again, if it's not, take whatever adjustments you need. And just breathe into your right side. Sigh, hum, screaming frustration at the sky. As long as you're stretching your right side while you do it. And then slowly bringing the right hand down to lift yourself up. Knees bent. Same thing on this side. I'm going to adjust myself to the middle of my mat. Right hand now to the bottom of left foot. Inhale, lift the left arm. Exhale, side bend over to the right, getting a little bit of that pressure onto your left foot. Thanks. Foot. Someone's being really loud upstairs. Probably just be hearing it. I hear a lot of things. Coming back up through center, and we'll just do a little bit of that hip mobility windshield wipers. So if you want to take the little version, absolutely take the little version. Take the easy version. It feels really nice. If you want more of a challenge, coming into the bigger version, you can still use your hands to guide you. Or you can come to the biggest version where you use no hands, which is very fun. But it is harder. So it's totally up to you how much effort you want to put into it today. You don't have to do a lot. It's an easy day, an easy class. Should be an easy class. And I'm scooting forward as I do this purely by accident. You don't have to copy me. I'm actually, you know what, since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and grab my pillows. So make sure your pillows are nearby, because we're going to lie down on our backs. Distracting, I'll put them on this side. Great. So coming to our bent-kneed position, feet on the mat. Make sure your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. One glute bridge, just to get a little bit of alignment. It doesn't have to come all the way up, just activate your glutes. Make sure your spine is sitting straight, settle them back down. Here we are, hips. That's where you should be. From here, actual snow angels, because the snow angel didn't drown, they saved themselves. So look, same thing. Hands can trail on the floor or they can hover, hovering, anywhere up to a foot above, or it can be right above the floor. You can have the back of your hands trailing and just coming all the way up. And all the way back down. Again, you can keep your hands straight. I have a wall on this side, so I'm going to bend my elbows a little bit. Whichever version works best for you, as long as you start with your hands facing your thighs and end with your hands above your head, either facing the sky or facing towards each other. One of the two. So make sure when your hands come down, you take a moment, tap your thighs, palms on top of either side, and then up again. There's the wall. I think I learned to move my mat. No. Who learns things? So just a couple more times here. Doesn't matter which way you're breathing, as long as you're breathing slowly and into your lower abdomen. Remember your breath patterns. You can do a little core contraction at the end of your exhales if you want to, but it's not necessary. As long as you're breathing and your lower back is flush against the mat. Head relaxed. And then bring your hands towards the mat. Lift up your glutes, so squeeze those glutes to lift your hips, really engage, activate. Imagine your glutes are the only muscle in your body that functions, and you have to squeeze your hips, and then slowly lower one vertebrae at a time back down. Lift up your right foot, bring your right knee in towards your chest, circles with the right ankle. If there's pain, stop. But if there's an unsettling cracking, just pay attention to it and tell your massage therapist next time you see them. Okay, right foot back down. Make sure your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. Squeeze your glutes, lift your hips toward the sky. Really push into the ground with your heels. And slowly lower back down. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. Ankle circles on the left side. Take note if there's more or less cracking with the left ankle. Switch circles if you haven't already. Forgot to cue you on the first side. I hope you did both sides. Not like it particularly matters. It's fine. Joint is getting lubricated either way. Okay, left foot back down. Make sure your heels are just out of reach of your fingertips. More glute bridge. Lift your hips. Lift them as high as you can this time. Really pressing in with the heels, with the hands, with the backs of the shoulders. Get those shoulder blades back and down if you can, and then slowly lower each vertebrae coming down, one after the other. Glutes are still engaged until the last second, the last possible moment. And then relax and pull both knees into the chest. Knee circles. So one way. Lower back will feel a little bit of a massage around the sacrum area. A little bit of hips. Circle the other way. See there, now I'm cueing you. Now I'm teaching a class. And bringing feet down towards the mat. Make sure your heels are just out of reach of fingertips. Knees a little bit apart. Use your glutes to lift your hips. If you haven't figured it out, glute bridges are life, in my opinion. Slowly lower all the way back down. Inhale, lift the arms all the way overhead, palms facing towards each other. Exhale, bring the arms back down, lift them towards the knees. Maybe you lift your head, maybe your chest, a little bit of a crunch. And then lower. Inhale, lift the arms all the way overhead. Exhale, bring them back down towards your knees. Maybe lift your head, a little crunch. Lower. Inhale, lift the arms again. Exhale, bring the hands down towards knees, little crunch. Really engaging the core, really squeezing belly button down towards the mat, and then release. Make sure your heels are still just out of reach of your fingertips. That's right, glute bridge again. Squeeze your glutes. If you're really trying to like hold in a fart, you're just like, oh man. Squeeze your hips up toward the ceiling and then slowly lower down. And then turn your head to one side and the other side. Just rock a little on the base of the skull. We did base, sacrum, bottom of spine. So now we're doing top of spine. Saying, no, I don't want to do that. I want to fart with all these nice people around me. I want to fart when there's people I don't like around me. So then they'll leave. Okay, coming back to center. One more glute bridge. Squeezing your glutes, lifting your hips, really pressing in with the heels. Don't forget about the toes, though. They still exist. And then slowly lower back down. All right, grab your pillows. Put them on either side of your knees. It's a little bit of a short adductor stretch, and I'll show you this from both sides. Just gonna get the knees to fall straight out to either side. So depending on your flexibility, depending on your hip range, depending on how your adductors are, you might want thicker cushions. You might want to really squeeze your pillows, turn them around on the sides. Totally up to you. You might want to get yoga blocks, cardboard boxes, something that's a little more supportive. We're just going to come right out to the side here. You should not actually feel a stretch in the inner thigh. So if you are feeling a stretch in the inner thigh, grab another pillow. Maybe turn your pillow sideways. Because from here, what we want to do is we want to have the soles of the feet together. So the bottoms of the feet are going to be together. And we're basically not exactly stretching the muscle, but letting the muscle know that it's okay to relax without actually bringing it to a point of being too tight. We're letting these joints hang out here. And from here, we're going to think about our abdominals again, because we're not done with the abdominals. When you exhale, really driving your belly button down towards your lower spine. When you inhale, sending all of that air towards your lower abdomen, towards your hips, towards your adductors, towards your inner thighs. Exhale all of that air. Empties from your chest down. If you're familiar with pelvic floor breathing, this is also a good time to practice here. Essentially, when you breathe in and you breathe all of that air in towards your lower abdomen, you're imagining that your lower abdomen, all the viscera, all of these muscles, everything is going to shift down like an inch. And when you exhale, it's going to shift back up. So your belly button and what's behind your belly button is going to go down on your exhale, and it's going to slightly come up. When you inhale, you're going to drive your belly button down. Imagine like you're moving your pelvic floor out. And then pelvic floor is going to move up as you exhale. Belly button is going to drive down towards the lower spine. If this is too complicated, don't worry about it. Just do the regular breathing into the lower abdomen and the hips. Inhale in, exhale out. But if you can, if you want to, with the pelvic floor breathing, just feel your perineum sliding out a little bit. Imagine it's moving an inch. It won't actually move an inch, don't worry. And exhale. Belly button comes up and towards the lower spine. Perineum, pelvic floor tucks under. So you're just imagining that shift here. It's in this part of me. I will move my feet. This part of you that you're trying to imagine, you're feeling a little shift. Inhale in, feel, exhale out. So that's just kind of the image that you want. So you'll feel different activation points there. You don't actually have to do the pelvic floor breathing. It's just a really great opportunity to do it since we're here. Just a few more rounds. You can sigh, open mouth, if you want to, like you're fogging out a mirror. For this one, I would more recommend the blowing out the candle breath. Especially if you're doing the pelvic floor breathing. Strong pelvic floor means strong back, strong glutes, strong ability to not pee yourself. Especially if you have had children or plan on having children. Excellent breath to learn and practice. All right, and then we'll slowly bring the legs together. So hands coming underneath the outer thighs, lifting legs back up one at a time, or two at a time. I clearly did that. And bring both of your pillows over the bottom of your mat. I'm gonna shift, bringing the legs over top of the pillows. So knees will be right on top, roughly where the pillow is during a massage when you're lying on your back. You can have 2 pillows. You can have 3 pillows. You can put your legs up on top of a chair or a couch if you want to. I'm just going to stick with 2 pillows for right now. I'm just coming into a relaxed state here. Hands can be just below belly button, or hands can be on the floor, palms facing up. It's up to you. And just breathe for a moment. And then from here, keeping your left leg where it is, we're going to lift up the right leg. Keep this leg as bent as you need to. If this is about where it gets to, where your foot is just on top of the pillow, totally okay. See if you can reach around behind the back of that thigh and see how much you can straighten this leg. So getting into a bit of a hamstring stretch here. If you need to shift your left leg up a little bit, you absolutely can. And again, try to focus on straightening this leg by trying to pull the back of your knee towards the wall behind you. So like someone's got a string here and pulling your knee, just the back. And that'll help activate a lot of quads here, help you get a little bit of a better stretch. If you're feeling it a lot in the calves, point your toe. If you want more of a dynamic calf hamstring stretch, you can point and flex your foot from this position. So when you flex your foot, you'll really feel the calf. And when you point it, you might be able to feel a little more hamstring. Maybe you can move a little more if you feel that hamstring. Ugh, tight calf. Ugh, tight hamstring. Can't win today. Of course we win because we're paying attention. Anytime you try, you win. And then we'll bend the knee. Let the right leg come out. And switch. So bringing left leg up. Try and do the same version you did on the first side. So if you know you need to scoot that right leg up, absolutely scoot that right leg up. Wrap around behind, just below the knee on the left leg, and see if you can straighten that knee. If you can, point and flex that toe. Even if you can't, you can still point and flex from here. Absolutely. Depends how tight your hamstrings are. Whichever. Many different places you could be with this. You could be here. And calf stretch. Hamstring stretch. Totally okay to move back and forth here. You're like, oh, that's tight. I need to release it a little. That's fine. You don't have to stick with the first position that you chose. You can totally do something else. And then release left leg. We didn't do our glute stretches yet. I almost forgot about that. Okay, right ankle over left knee. Reach through, grab behind left thigh, pull left knee towards left shoulder. Flex your toes on both feet towards your knees. Protect the knees. Protect the knees at all costs. Not at all costs, actually. But protect the knees. Protect Brendan Fraser at all costs. He's a true gem. Breathe into your right outer hip and glute. And here you can absolutely sigh. And switch. We're bringing left ankle over top of right knee now, flexing the feet, and then pulling your right knee towards right shoulder. Breathe, sigh, fog up the mirror. You can still blow out the candle if you want to. Especially if it's really tight. And release the legs. kick the pillows away, or sit up and do it like an adult. Whatever, whatever works better for you. I like to be sloppy. Why not? All right, I come to sit up. So roll onto one side. Did not brush my hair today, so everything about me is sloppy and messy. Funny how that works. Coming into cobbler's position, soles of the feet together, and little butterfly wings flap. Fly your proud butterfly self. Butterflies do not have to brush their hair. It is a scientific fact. They just look great all the time. Moths too. And then release the knees. See how far down towards the mat you can get them. If they're really high up and you can reach with your elbows, you can absolutely use a little bit of the elbow to give a little bit of pressure to the inside, not actually on the knee joint, but just a little bit below. Maybe it gives you a little extra stretch. My range is actually down here, so for me it looks more like this. For you, it might look more like this. Totally okay. Again, with the black on black. You can't see anything that enters. Look, I have arms. All right, I'm sitting back up, coming to a wide-legged stance. It might be easier to just start with our feet on the ground here, because if you can, straighten one leg. Fantastic. We're going to turn towards that straight leg, keeping this one out. I know, this is going to be a little tricky. See if you can get your hands on either side of that thigh. Maybe walk a little forward. So you're going to feel a big stretch in the hip. You're going to feel a lot in the adductor here. You might feel it in the lower back. All of these are okay. If it's too much, you can bring this leg in, bring this foot just to the top of the inside of that thigh, or the bottom of thigh, as long as it's not right on the knee joint. Again, and then see from here. This might be easier. This one's going to open up the hip a little bit more, but this one might be easier. So totally okay. And being ambitious, messy and ambitious. Sorry. And breathe. And then we move to switch to the other side. So whichever version you took on the first side, take it on the second side. If you want to move through your awkward spider legs here, like me, absolutely can. I don't know why I keep doing that. If this is too much for you, again, bring that foot in just to the bottom of the thigh, just above the knee joint, and bring your hands to the outside. If this knee is still bent too, this is okay. This is okay. This is absolutely okay if this is the point that you're at. Keep your chest lifted. Proud butterfly. And then we'll come back to our goblin legs. I did my other class too. Hands first, palms facing forward. Turn the fingers down so the backs of the hands are facing away from you. Palms are facing towards you. You're just going to stretch out the forearm extensors a little bit. So coming into a little bit of a lean forward. If this is really uncomfortable for the legs, because I recognize that awkward goblin position might not be opposed for a lot of people, you can absolutely come up to sit on all fours to stretch out your wrists. By all fours, I mean on your knees and your hips. It's kind of chilling out here position. Or maybe you just really like being an awkward goblin, and I can just start doing awkward goblin yoga because apparently that's my thing today. It should be. It really should be. And then we'll switch the other way. So hands coming out. Again, palms facing away from you, this time rotating. So palms are still facing away from you, fingers are facing down, coming to stretch forearm. Flexors. And you might be here, and you might still be an awkward goblin. Or awkward spider legs, whatever. I don't know. And breathe. Coming out of that stretch. Straightening the legs if you can, coming into a wide-legged forward fold, walking the hands forward, just coming into a little bit, just a brief stretch. Remember to rotate the pelvis forward. Spine moves because it must, because it is attached. Trying not to bend in the lower back, trying not to get down to the floor by hunching over like a legitimate goblin. Awkward goblins only, straight back. At least for beginners classes. If you get like all the way down, then you can absolutely do a little bit here, but don't worry about that. Don't worry at all. And breathe. I keep saying it because I keep forgetting. Not that I think that you're forgetting. Hopefully you're not. Coming out of that stretch, coming into your cross-legged position, just for 3 breaths to close our practice. Big inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, out the mouth, hands to heart. Inhale, lift the arms up, breathe through your nose. Exhale, hands to heart. One more, inhale, reach. And exhale. Thank you so much for joining me for your practice today. I'll try to be a little more on point next week, but I made that promise to my last class and I'm probably going to break it. So stay hydrated and I will see you next time. And I'm going to barrel roll because that's also my favorite.
No level of professionalism today.